Hi everyone, this video is about Chapter 26, Lesson 1, Invertebrate Evolution and Diversity, found in textbook pages 752 to 256. For our objectives, you should be able to explain what happens or what fossil evidence indicates about the timing of the evolution of the first animals, and interpret the cladogram of invertebrates. So let's start with the origin of invertebrates. Many modern multicellular phyla first appeared during a period called the Cambrian explosion, between 530 and 515 million years ago. How did so many kinds of animals evolve so quickly? In what simpler forms could they have evolved? When did the first animals evolve as well? Fossil evidence indicates that the first animals began evolving long before the Cambrian explosion. For roughly 3 billion years after the first prokaryotic cells evolved, all prokaryotes and eukaryotes were single-celled. Animals evolved from ancestors they shared with organisms called guanoflagellates, the single-celled eukaryotes that sometimes grow in colonies. Guanoflagellates share several characteristics with sponges, the simplest multicellular animals. Our oldest evidence of multicellular life comes from microscopic fossils that are roughly 600 million years old. So the first animals were tiny and soft-bodied, so few fossilized bodies exist. Recent studies have uncovered incredibly well-preserved fossils of eggs and embryos that are 565 million years old. So paleontologists have also identified what are called trace fossils, tracks and burrows made by animals whose body parts weren't fossilized. Some important discoveries about invertebrates' life before the Cambrian period come from fossils in the Ediacara Hills of Australia. So strange fossils which date from roughly 565 to about 544 million years ago show body plans that are different from those of anything alive today. Many of the organisms were flat and lived on the bottom of shallow seas. They show little evidence of cell, tissue, or organ specialization and no organization into a front and back end. The Cambrian period began about 542 million years ago. So the two major Cambrian fossil sites are in Xinjiang, China, and in Burgess Shale of Canada. So these Cambrian fossils show that over a period of 10 to 15 million years, animals evolved complex body plans, including specialized cells, tissues, and organs. A number of Cambrian fossils have been identified as ancient members of modern invertebrate phyla, such as the fossil of arthropod Marilla, which are shown here. Some early Cambrian fossils represent extinct groups, so peculiar that no one knows what to make of them. So by the end of Cambrian period, all the basic body plans of modern phyla had been established. Later evolutionary changes, which produced the more familiar body structures of modern animals, evolved variations on these basic plans. Today, invertebrates are the most abundant animals on Earth. Invertebrates live in nearly every ecosystem, participate in nearly every food web, and vastly outnumber so-called higher animals such as reptiles and mammals. Scientists made a representation of current hypotheses about evolutionary relationships among major groups of organisms and that is with the use of a cladogram. An example of cladogram is of modern invertebrates. What does the cladogram of invertebrates illustrate? So this cladogram of invertebrates shows current hypothesis of evolutionary relationships among modern invertebrates. It also indicates the sequence in which some important features evolved. Groups shown close together are more closely related than are groups shown farther apart. The sequence in which some important features evolved is also shown. So as you can see from the figure, you have there the start of the evolution of the invertebrates, in which it started from a single-celled ancestor, which you can find at the bottom or the bottom left of the figure or of the cladogram. And the last to evolve is at the end of it, you have the chordates. So let's now have some of the groups of modern invertebrates. Sponges are the most ancient members of the kingdom Animalia. They are multicellular, heterotrophic, they lack cell wall, and contain a few specialized cells. So they are the phylum Porifera, or the pore bearers. For cnidarians, the phylum Cnidaria includes jellyfishes, sea fans, sea anemones, hydras, and corals. Cnidarians are aquatic, soft-bodied, carnivorous, radially symmetrical animals with stinging tentacles arranged in circles around their mouths. They are the simplest animals to have body symmetry. Now the arthropods. In phylum Arthropoda, arthron means joint and podos mean foot. This includes spiders, centipedes, insects, and crustaceans. Arthropods have bodies divided into segments, a tough external skeleton called an exoskeleton. Cephalization. This refers to the nervous system of the body. Arthropods also have jointed appendages, which are structures such as legs, antennae, and that extend from the body wall. Arthropods appeared in the sea about 600 million years ago and have since colonized freshwater habitats, land, and air. Let's now have phylum Nematoda, or the nematodes, referred to as the roundworms. Nematodes are unsegmented worms with pseudocoeloms, or a functional body cavity, specialized tissues and organ systems, and digestive tracts with two openings, a mouth and an anus. Nematodes were once thought to be closely related to flatworms, annelids, and mollusks, but have been found to be more closely related to the arthropods. Flatworms. They are the simplest animals to have three embryonic germ layers, bilateral symmetry, and cephalization. Flatworms are soft, unsegmented, flattened worms that have tissues and internal organ systems. Now the annelids, or phylum Annelida. Annelus means little ring, includes earthworms, some marine worms, and leeches. Annelids are worms with segmented bodies and a true coelom lined with tissue derived from mesoderm. Now the phylum Mollusca, or the mollusk, includes snails, slugs, clams, squids, and octopi. Mollusks are soft-bodied animals that have an internal or external shell. They have true coeloms surrounded by mesoderm and complex organ systems. Many mollusks have a free-swimming larva or immature stage called cercophore. The echinoderms from phylum Echinodermata, or Echinodermata. Echino means spiny and dermis means skin. This includes sea stars, sea urchins, and sand dollars. Echinoderms have spiny skin and an internal skeleton. They also have a watery vascular system, which is a network of water-filled tubes that include suction cup-like tube feet, which are used for walking and gripping prey. Most exhibit 5 parts radial symmetry. So let's now summarize the lesson. The origins of the invertebrates. It is not known when the first multicellular animals evolved from single-celled eukaryotes. The animals probably evolved from ancestors they shared with choanoflagellates. Fossil evidence indicates that animals began evolving long before the Cambrian explosion, which occurred between 530 and 515 million years ago. Fossils of Ediacara or from Ediacara Hills of Australia date from roughly 565 to 544 million years ago. Their body plans are different from those of anything alive today. Some seem to be related to invertebrates, such as jellyfishes and worms. Cambrian fossils, dating back about 542 million years ago, show how animals evolved complex body plans over a span of 10 to 15 million years. Many had body plan or body symmetry, a front and back end, specialized cells, and appendages, structures such as legs or antennae protruding from the body. Some had hard body parts that became fossilized. By the end of the Cambrian, the basic body plans of the modern phyla were established. Today, invertebrates are the most abundant animals on Earth. The cladogram and invertebrates. The cladogram of invertebrates presents current hypotheses about evolutionary relationships among major groups of modern invertebrates. The major invertebrate phyla are the sponges, cnidarians, arthropods, nematodes or the roundworms, flatworms, annelids, mollusks, and echinoderms. Sponges have pores in their bodies. Cnidarians are radially symmetrical animals with stinging tentacles. Arthropods have segmented bodies, a hard external skeleton, jointed appendages, and cephalization, while nematodes of roundworms are non-segmented worms with pseudocoeloms. Their digestive tracts have no openings. The platyhelminthes or flatworms are the simplest animals to have 3 germ layers, bilateral symmetry, and cephalization. Annelids are worms with segmented bodies and a true coelom. Larvae are the immature stages of development in some animals, such as mollusks. Many mollusks have a free-swimming larval stage called trochophore. The trochophore is also characteristic of many annelids, indicating that annelids and mollusks are closely related. Mollusks are soft-bodied animals that usually have a shell. They also have a true coelom and complex organ systems. Echinoderms have spiny skin and exhibit radial symmetry. So let's now have some lesson check questions. Number 1 question. What was the Cambrian explosion? Cambrian explosion is a period between 530 and 515 million years ago when many modern multicellular phyla first appeared. Number 2 question. What is a cladogram? The answer is a cladogram is a diagram that shows the evolutionary relationships among groups of organisms. For our number 3 question, what does the cladogram of invertebrates show? The answer is it shows current hypotheses about evolutionary relationships among major groups of modern invertebrates, the sequence in which some important features have evolved. For number 4 question, which body plan feature evolved first, radial symmetry, or the urostome or the deuterostome development, which is that of nematodes? The answer is the radial symmetry. So that's it for the invertebrate evolution and diversity. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.